Good morning. Welcome to Denton Unitarian Universalist Fellowship. My name is Kim, my pronouns are she and her, and I'm a member of the Board of Trustees. Whatever your reason, whatever your worldview or spiritual tradition, age, race, gender identity, sexual orientation, financial means, physical ability, political affiliation, or immigration status, you are welcome here. Newcomers, please complete an online visitor information card to connect with us. See the chat or the seat pocket in front of you. Each week, children ages 0 to 3 are welcome in the sanctuary or in the nursery in the fellowship hall. Children ages 4 through 5th grade are invited to join Explorers Group by signing in at the welcome wagon, and then they will be invited to their room later in the service. Youth 6th through 12th grade are invited to remain in the service. For our announcements today, the board is looking for a volunteer to help organize the chili cook-off this year. Normally, the chili cook-off is in late February or early March, but the date is flexible depending on who is available to help organize. This year, the chili cook-off will not be a fundraiser, so there will be no charge to attend. Instead, it will be a potluck-style fellowship gathering. If you are interested in helping to organize the cook-off, please reach out to somebody on the board, either in person or via email at board@dentonuuf.org. DOOF will be organizing a group to volunteer for the Great American Cleanup, sponsored by Keep Denton Beautiful. The cleanup is scheduled for the morning of Saturday, March 28th. Volunteers will meet at the church and then head to our designated cleanup zone. There is also a No Kings protest that day, so some volunteers are planning to bring protest signs while they clean up trash. To participate in both, please reach out to Tyler Rankin if you are interested, either in person or at treasurer@dentonuuf.org by March 18th. After worship today, please join us in the fellowship hall through this door for coffee and conversation. Today we welcome Dr. Shahla Alai-Rosales to the pulpit. Dr. Shahla Alai-Rosales serves as professor in the Department of Behavior Analysis at the University of North Texas. She has taught courses in Texas, Europe, South America, and the Middle East on a variety of topics, including ethics and cultural diversity. She is a member of 2 interdisciplinary research labs, one focused on social justice and the other on relationships and joy within programs for children with autism and their families. Shahla has published and presented research in several areas, including social justice and ethics in behavior analysis. She has received awards for her teaching, her work with families, and for her sustained contributions to the community. She was a member of several disciplinary boards and is author of books to support families and professionals. In addition to service, Shahla's family and community are an integral part of her life. She is from a bicultural family and has lived within and across several cultural communities. Shahla is the mother of 2 amazing humans and a beloved grandchild, and she cherishes her love learning for and with them. She is a member of the Baha'i community, of which the central principles and practices revolve around love and justice. Her thoughts today reflect many spheres of heart and mind, as well as her clumsy and very human efforts to make spiritual progress as an individual and as part of the human collective. Welcome, Dr. Alai-Rosales. Now let us prepare our hearts and minds for worship.
Our call to worship today comes from the Universal House of Justice of the Baha'i Faith. Ultimately, the power to transform the world is affected by love. Love originating from the relationship with the divine, love ablaze among members of a community. Love extended without restriction to every human being. This divine love, ignited by the word of God, is disseminated by enkindled souls through intimate conversations that create new susceptibilities in human hearts, open minds to moral persuasion, and loosen the hold of biased norms and social systems so they can gradually take on a new form. You are channels for this divine love. Let it flow through you to all who cross your path. Infuse it into every neighborhood and social space in which you move. Invite Iris to light our chalice. You ready? Love is the aspiration, the spirit that moves and inspires this faith we share. Rightly understood, love can nurture our spirits and transform the world. May the flame of this chalice honor and embody the power and the blessing of the love we need, the love we give, the love we are challenged always to remember and to share. Please rise in body or spirit for the opening hymn, Unite and Bind.
High voices join us.
Unite and bind together the hearts. Unite and bind together the hearts.
Low voices join us.
Unite and bind together the hearts. Unite and bind together the hearts.
Everybody keep singing. One more time. Last line.
Unite Thank you.
So today's service is all about love, but not just, hearts and roses and all the Valentine's Day love, but all sorts of love and all sorts of feelings. And so I thought I'd share a book about all sorts of feelings that I like to share with some of my students. This is In My Heart, which is a book of feelings. So if any one of the kids would like to come down or stay there or wherever you want to sit, or, oh, awesome. I love sharing this book with new kids. All right, In My Heart, a book of feelings. Miss Talbot's getting old. My heart is full of feelings, big feelings and small feelings, loud feelings and quiet feelings, quick feelings and slow feelings. My heart is like a house with all these feelings living inside. Sometimes my heart feels like a big yellow star, shiny and bright, and I smile from ear to ear and twirl around so fast, I feel as if I could take off into the sky. This is when my heart is happy. You like to twirl around when you're happy? Me too. Other times, my heart feels strong. I stand up tall, as if I could touch the clouds. New people and places don't frighten me. I can do it. Watch me go. This is when my heart is brave. When I get really angry, my heart feels as if it's going to explode. Don't come near me. My heart is yelling hot and loud. This is my heart when I'm mad. Grrr. But other times, my heart is cool. I bob along gently like a balloon on a string. My heart feels lazy and slow, as quiet as snowfall. This is when my heart is calm. On harder days, mean words hurt my feelings, and my heart feels hurt too. It's fragile and delicate, but it can be healed with extra kisses. This is when my heart is broken. Some days my heart feels as heavy as an elephant. There's a dark cloud over my head and tears fall like rain. This is when my heart is sad. But my heart doesn't stay sad. Like springtime after winter, this sun comes out again. My heart grows tall, like a plant reaching towards the sky. This is when my heart is hopeful. Eek! When I see something scary, my heart beats fast. I feel cold, as if a chilly breeze has crawled up my neck. And I run away as fast as I can. This is when my heart feels afraid. When it's time for a bit of fun, my heart feels full of giggles and wiggles. Abracadabra. I hop around like a bouncy bunny. This is when my heart feels silly. Sometimes I hide my heart away where no one can see it, like my own small treasure. I don't want anyone to look at me. Safe on my swing, I can watch the world from up above. This is when my heart is shy, which Finian has never been in his life. My heart can feel so many feelings, and yours can too. Today, my heart is proud. How does your heart feel? Yay. Okay, so we'd already agreed on who was lighting the chalice. Y'all want to come up? Uh-oh, I have a problem. It's all right. I'm good. Oh, yeah. Let's try that. Oh, well, I guess we don't really need to do that. How about we just do this? You want to light that one first? And if you all would join me in the words in your order of service. This is our chalice of love and of light, uniting you by day and by night. And now we're going to sing the children on their way. May your minds be open to new learning. May your lips bring truth into the world. May your hearts know love as your hands do the work of justice. As you go your way in peace. As you go your way in peace. In a world filled with brokenness and sorrow, it would be easy to lose ourselves in never-ending grief, to be choked by outrage, to be paralyzed by the enormity of suffering, to feel our hearts squeeze tight with hopelessness. Instead, this morning, let us simply breathe together as we hold our hearts open. Breathing in, our hearts fill with compassion. Breathing out as we pray for healing in our world, in our lives. Breathing in, opening ourselves to the transforming power of love. Breathing out, we hold hope in our hearts. We pray for justice in our world and in our lives. May we know our strength. May we be filled with courage. May our love flow from us into the world. Breathing in, we are the prayer. Breathing out, we are the healing. Breathing in, we are the love. Breathing out, we are the peace. Breathing in, we are the hope. Breathing out, we are the justice. May we know our strength. May we be filled with courage. May our love flow from us into the world. Amen. Blessed be. May it be so. America is an old house. We can never declare the work over. Wind, flood, drought, and human upheavals batter a structure that is already fighting whatever flaws were left unattended in the original foundation. When you live in an old house, you may not want to go into the basement after storm to see what the rains have wrought. Choose not to look. However, that's at your own peril. The owner of an old house knows that whatever you are ignoring will never go away. Whatever is lurking will fester, whether you choose to look or not. Ignorance is no protection from the consequences of inaction. Whatever you are wishing away will gnaw at you until you gather the courage to face what you would rather not see. We in the developed world are like homeowners who inherited a house on a piece of land that is beautiful on the outside, but whose soil is unstable, loam and rock, heaving and contracting over generations, cracks patched, but the deeper ruptures waved away for decades, centuries even. Many people may rightly say, I had nothing to do with how this all started. I have nothing to do with the sins of the past. My ancestors never attacked indigenous people, never owned slaves. And yes, not one of us was here when this house was built. Our immediate ancestors may have had nothing to do with it. But here we are, the current occupants of a property with stress cracks and bowed walls and fissures built into the foundation. We are the heirs to whatever is right or wrong with it. We did not erect the uneven pillars or joists, but they are ours to deal with now. And any further deterioration is, in fact, on our hands. Please rise in body or spirit for hymn number 95, There Is More Love Somewhere.
There is more love somewhere. There is more love somewhere. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more love somewhere. There is more
as I was researching all kinds of amazing rabbit holes for the readings, etc., for today's service, I kept thinking about the words from old before times services. Y'all remember any of those? Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest for truth, its sacrament, and service, its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve humankind in fellowship. This do we covenant together. Together, we make the choice to love, even in these times. And love is a choice, not simply or necessarily a rational choice, but rather a willingness to be present to others, a willingness to participate with others, both in this sanctuary and in the wider world, to be open to love, to be willing to risk loving our neighbors and our friends and all who walk through those doors, looking for a place where they can be themselves. And maybe, as crazy as it seems nowadays, to find a bit of comfort and a few moments of safety and healing in a broken world. And none of that is possible without the generosity of this congregation and those who support it in all the ways we can. Each week, we pass 2 baskets, one for this faith community and one for the larger community. Our second offering recipient for February is the Denton African American Scholarship Foundation, an organization that helps make college a reality for youth of African American descent residing in the Denton region. This organization works in collaboration with the Denton Independent School District to identify eligible applicants through counselors at each of Denton's high schools. And a panel of community volunteers evaluate applications and make rewards each spring. The scholarship program began in the early 1980s, and since that time, it has given over $400,000 in awards to youth pursuing higher education. Please see the chat or the order of service for ways to give, and the offering is now gratefully received.
Oh mio bambino caro, mi piace bello, bello,
It's really a pleasure to be here today and to see all of you. And thank you for inviting me. Because I'm Shahla, and because I'm a professor, it seems I can't talk without PowerPoints anymore. So I have a PowerPoint to share the information with you. And I want to tell you something about the PowerPoint before we proceed. The first thing is there's a lot of little print. You're not meant to read that. I've given you a handout, and I've sort of developed this practice of having the main points big, having some meditations and quotes if people want to look at them later, and then having a series of links if you want to develop or delve more deeply into the content that I'm speaking to. The title is from a chapter in this book. It's called All About Love by Bell Hooks, who is considered a womanist or feminist scholar. I am by no means a scholar of Bell Hooks, but her work has become increasingly important to my own work. So I will also say something else. I cry very easily. I cry when I'm moved, when I'm happy, when I'm mad, when I'm sad. I'm probably going to cry, especially when I start out with the story I'm going to start out with. So I'm going to start out with sharing with you my mother's love songs. And they're very complicated love songs, but as with most of us, our mothers are one of the first places that we learn about love. So the first thing that my mother did was teach me to pray as a very young child, and that has become a very important practice throughout the course of my life. She also regularly did service in the community. I remember almost every weekend as an adolescent going to nursing homes with my mother and spending time with people, taking things to them, learning their stories, learning to listen to elders, and know that there is wisdom there. The other thing that she did is she loved gardening, and that was that connection with the earth, and also the connection with the idea that we do things and those things feed us. My family were not very wealthy, and so, and even if we had been, I'm hoping that would have been part of our practice to be sustained by things that we produced in our own little patch of land. And that was a regular thing that happened throughout the summer, canning and preparing for the winter months. She was also an artist. She volunteered as an art teacher in most of the schools I was in. We did art. I remember even one terrible winter baking 78 records. I don't know if any of you remember what those are, but they were really thick and they were in the times of dis. And if you put them in the oven, they turn into bowls. And then we painted them and decorated them. We were constantly, our home was full of art, which I think is a really important love language in addition to our connection with the land, in addition to our service. This is where the love song starts to develop more intricacies, more complicated melodies. My mom was also part of a community, and it was a community of very different people. And in those times, I went all the time as a child to the community activism, the community service that this group of people was engaged in. And part of what I learned was to do kind things, absolutely. But I also learned that very good people who want very important things to happen can also disagree with one another, and in very strong and confusing ways. And they can learn to dialogue. They can learn how to serve in ways that don't hurt each other, that don't hurt the people they're trying to serve, and that are participatory, that include everyone. This was one of the more confusing and more important parts of the love song that I learned from her. Oops, I'm sorry. Can you go back to the slide? It wasn't time to change. So this diverse group of people was important in formation. What was also important is that as my mother aged, she had some mental health challenges throughout her life. She also had dementia, and it was a complicated part of dementia. And the love learning and the song during that period wasn't so much keeping our love for her. It was in the midst of fear, confusion, being overwhelmed, and frustrated with a system that didn't have a lot of resources for people with her particular package. It was us learning to love each other in our help and support for her. It was very difficult. And one of the things, as my mom was in and out of facilities, she always took her prayer book and she always asked for her prayer book to come. And one of the things that I saw and realized after she passed when I opened up her prayer book is she had written all of our names in different prayers. And I'm telling you this because I think another part of the love song she left us was no matter where you are physically, emotionally, intellectually, if your brain is going to other places and they're hard, you can do things that help you remember to continue loving. She had prayers for her great-grandchild, for me, for her brother, for her sister, for the neighbors. They were all there. And even though she couldn't remember, she would say those prayers for those people. So that love song, in all of its complication, is part of what I will talk about and what Hooks talks about. It is the acting at a global level when you're an activist and, fighting for peace. At that time, it was during the Cold War, fighting for certain types of peace. And there is the daily breath that you are taking and showing love and learning love in those spaces. And this is actually central to what Hooks talks about in her philosophy, that it is our daily and it is our societal actions that are an important part of love. Now we can go to the next slide. And I think, and I believe what Hooks is saying is that this is the zeitgeist of our times. This is so much of what we are meant to learn right now is how to love in what feels to us very difficult conditions, and that in a way that promotes our collective progress. We can go to the next slide. So part of this that Hooks and other spiritual leaders, scholars talk about is that there is a love ethic for a world that is becoming, and that it's important to see this world in the context of our times, and that even though it doesn't feel like it right now, it is a splendid arc. It is an arc of progress. It is an arc that no longer buries girl children. It is an arc that does not deny education to the masses because they are not of nobility. We have made progress as a species. We have a lot of progress to still make, and we're all feeling the exclusion, the pain, the suffering, but it's also important to see there's a wider thing going on from the time of humanity's dawn, and that in this time of transition, a love ethic can guide us. So we can go to the next slide. And Hooks talks about lovelessness and lovefulness. Lovelessness is this reliance on power that is based on domination and oppression. It is based on a hierarchy. It is based on not inclusion. That is lovelessness. Lovefulness is power that comes from our solidarity and our collective concern for the well-being of everyone, all of us. So I want to talk a little bit more about the lovefulness that she talks about. We can go to the next slide. So lovefulness creates a new way of being. It enables noble goals and qualities that disable those oppressive structures. So it's naming the oppressive structures, and it is acting, though, to replace them, not by being oppressive and dominating, but by building and learning how to replace those structures with love, which is hard. This is like the lesson right now that humanity is going through, how to build those structures. And, oops, I'm sorry, go back. Love also nurtures, the more we love. Even just right now this morning, the hymns, the passages, they helped each of us, I hope, think a little bit more about what love is and how to love. The more we do that, the more we build, the more the glow increases. Okay, now we can go to the next one. So this is another hard thing that Hooks and other scholars, and Wilkerson, if you're familiar with her work, she was one of the readings, talk about, is that part of how we do that love growing is in times of crisis. If everything's great, we don't have to strengthen our love muscles. We don't have to learn how to do it better because there's not the conditions for learning. So part of even what's happening now that we see all around us that is so hard is an opportunity for us to build new tools, not the master's tools, new tools that help us learn how to love one another. We can go to the next one. So part of not only Hooks, but many other scholars is thinking about resilience, especially in times that for some of us are much more oppressive than others. If you worry about someone coming in and taking your children, there's a different set of things that you're learning than if you are someone who is in an area where none of that is happening and none of that is touching you. So what is happening in terms of this love building, this lovefulness, is we're developing a way to see ourselves as a collective, to see that when Liam is taken, that's also us. That is part of all of us having this experience as a species and developing a resilience and a strength to advocate and help one another. It includes embodied awareness. And this I find is an interesting thing. And this list actually comes specifically from work by Octavia Butler, who was a sort of futurist science fiction author and a great thinker. And part of what she talks about is having situational awareness. If you don't see that someone else's child is being taken or someone is being discriminated against, it's hard to build the opposite of that. So part of it is developing that awareness and feeling that empathy in our bodies. The other part is embracing change, which is very hard. It is kind of more comfortable to stay in the same space and not learn, so embracing change and being honest about conflict. That was from my mother's love song, a really important thing. Not that I think kumbaya isn't great, because I really do, but it's not just kumbaya. It is also understanding you and I may disagree, but we still love each other, and we will work together to take what you think, what I think, and build a third way, a third understanding about what is happening. That is lovefulness. And in that process, fostering our sacred connections, understanding who we are, not only as a species, but all the other beings on the planet, like how we are related to each other, and to radically imagine. Butler did a lot of that. She radically imagined what the world would be like under very different conditions and how we could have lovefulness. The next slide. So I love the first hymn that we sang. It is one of my favorite, and listening to it, I find really moving because I feel like that and so many other songs are love songs for humanity. And I think, again, like my mother's art that our house was full of, the music and songs are also important. The joy is important. To find those divine things that music brings to us are part of our love songs for humanity. And that was an important part of what Hooks talks about, and many of the other kind of spiritual activists of the time, is that the arts are an important part of the love building. Go to the next one. Another thing that is spoken of, and there is There is a really beautiful podcast by Alok, and I'm never sure I'm saying their name correctly, but it's about compassion, and it's about not seeing the world in a binary. And part of what they talk about is love is this binding agent that allows us to sit with our differences and talk with one another and feel like we're at home, we're taking off our shoes, and we're trying to figure things out together, but a recognition that we are doing it together with a common purpose here on earth. And again, the comfort and the honesty with one another. We can go to the next one. This one is one that personally has helped me a lot. For those of you who know me, my awkwardly trying to be a good human is no joke. I am very expressive. I cry easily, but I also yell easily. And for me, what has helped me a lot is orienting to the divine. For me personally, that is a practice that I see in Hooks, I see in Butler, I see in Abdu'l-Baha, that if I'm really, really challenged and I feel like I'm going into lovelessness and out of lovefulness, I look to the divine and think we are all children of God, or whatever word you want to insert there, but we are children of something sacred, and it helps one to look at each other in that way to realign. Okay, we can go to the next one. This, I think, is something a little bit different than we saw maybe, 200 years ago. Because 200 years ago, we didn't have media, we didn't have the kind of transportation we have, we didn't have the internet. What we have become acutely aware of is we really are one planet, we really are one species. The speed of information, as critical as people are of social media, the fact that we saw what was happening during different, and are seeing right now, during different social protests across the world, different movements, puts us in touch with the fact that we are all part of how we collectively move as a species, how we make progress, and how we view ourselves in that splendid arc of progress, that the acceleration of information about how we are linked has dramatically increased in the last 150 years. With that acceleration also comes love responsibilities for how we respond to how we know we are all part of one together. We can go to the next one. This is a little small. I should have made that one bigger. This is actually this finding spirit. I'm using the term spirit in the most general sense. I mean it's not me. I don't mean this. This comes from Hooks and Butler. Spirit in this sense, and finding spirit is about non-material things. So it's not things that are the tangible things, it is the things that are the connections between all of us. It's humor, it's curiosity, it's love, it's honor, it's joy. It's all of those things that are spirit things, that are transcending a material plane or existence. And that lovefulness, the part of it is finding spirit. We can go to the next one. This one is a very practical thing, and one of the things I'm going to leave you with. And I didn't fully understand this, and I'm still learning it, but this idea, and actually John Dewey talks about it, that a thing isn't learned unless you're reflecting on what the learning is. And this idea that the meaning of what we're doing comes from us reflecting on what we are doing. And that the frequency of us reflecting on what we are doing is directly tied to the acceleration of us doing more meaningful and more loveful things in life. And one of the things I like I like many things, but one of the things I've recently has spoken to me a lot from the Baha'i teachings is that every day, with every cycle of the sun, you have to intentionally reflect so that you think about, was yesterday better than the day before? Did Did I improve something? Did I increase my love in the world? Did I increase my love for the collective? Did I find more spirit? Did I do something that brought joy to somebody? Whatever the things are that you're working on, that cycle of the sun helps you have a marker for considering and reflecting and giving meaning to your days and improving. We can go on the next one. And part of what we want to do while we're reflecting is we want to build our capacity. We want to build our own capacity, and we want to build the capacity of the people around us. Gatherings like this are a way of building capacity. We think, we pray, we sing, we make art. I'm sure that's what children are doing. We share food, and we have conversations. And we learn from one another how to build capacity, how to ask when you want something stored, how to offer to do that. All of those things are ways of us learning ways to build love circuitry that grows and grows. Go to the next one. So, I'm not sure how I am on time, but I think this is good. I want to say that, so the quotes are there for you to look at. I made the PowerPoint pretty so you can look at it. And I did put a lot of links in from bell hooks, from Octavia Butler, some from the Baha'i Writings, some from Isabel Wilkerson, and I can't remember who else is there. But everything I took things from, those are the resources that are on the pages. And I thank you. So I'm going to ask you to please rise in body and spirit for our closing hymn, which is Go Lift It Up. You have such a beautiful voice.
Go lift it up, love bless your way. Moonlight, starlight, guide your journey into peace and the brightness of day. Go lift it up, love bless your way. Moonlight, starlight, guide your journey into peace and the brightness of day.
Will you join me in the unison words for extinguishing the chalice? We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
And I'm going to close with a prayer for humanity. O thou compassionate Lord, thou who art generous and able, we are servants of thine, sheltered beneath thy providence. Cast thy glance of favor upon us. Give light to our eyes, hearing to our ears, and understanding and love to our hearts. Render our souls joyous and happy through thy glad tidings. O Lord, point out to us the pathway of thy kingdom and resuscitate all of us through the breaths of the Holy Spirit. Bestow upon us life everlasting, and confer upon us never-ending honor. Unify mankind and illumine the world of humanity. May we all follow thy pathway, long for thy good pleasure, and seek the mysteries of thy kingdom. O God, unite us and connect our hearts with thy indissoluble bond. Verily, thou art the giver, thou art the kind one, and thou art the Almighty.